What is up everyone, it is Sacred Saiyan here, welcoming you to the first episode of a reboot of the old series I did, What If Sacred Saiyan was in Dragon Ball. If you end up liking today's video, then please consider subscribing. It is free, and you can always unsubscribe later. There's a link in the description of the video to join my Discord server, and also to become a channel member if you want to support the channel. If you want to see any Star Wars what ifs, then there is a link to my Star Wars channel in the description of the video as well. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the first episode of What If Sacred Saiyan was in Dragon Ball. So, the last time I did this series, I created an actual Dragon Ball character called Sacred Saiyan, and a prophecy around it. However, this time, I'm taking the series in a completely different way. I'm taking myself from real life, with all my knowledge, into Dragon Ball. And with that explanation out of the way, we will now begin. My eyes open. I'm in the city, and I look at my hands, and see I'm wearing white gloves, and I see my arms are more muscular than they should be. I have a confused expression on my face, as I run to the window of a building, and I look into it, to see my reflection, but when I do, I see myself as my Dragon Ball character. I come to quickly get used to my new body, and the fact I am inside of this new universe. And even though I do want to get back to my own world, I don't yet have the capabilities to do so. The only thing I believe could get me back to my world is the Super Dragon Balls, and they will be impossible for me to collect alone, especially as only a human. I then get an idea. I see a flyer for the World Martial Arts Tournament where Goku and Piccolo Jr. face off, and I realise at what time in Dragon Ball I was transported to, and I think that Kami must have seen my arrival in this world. Around an hour passes, as I slowly walk outside of the city, and I stand in a forest, where I seemingly talk to myself, and I say, I know you are watching me. We have a lot to discuss, so if you would let me speak to you, then that would be greatly appreciated. I then close my eyes, and open them again, Mr. Popo being there on his magic carpet, and he tells me to get on. I step onto the carpet, and I am brought to the lookout, where I see Goku training, and Kami standing there attentively. I step off the carpet, and Goku stops training after he sees I'm there, and he walks up to me, and outstretches his hand, then introducing himself. I have a look of sheer disbelief on my face. I am meeting the Goku. However, I quickly recompose myself, and then I think about introducing myself with my real name, but instead, I decide to introduce myself as Sacred. Kami then tells Goku to continue his training while me and Kami speak, and Kami then gestures me to follow him, and then I do. Me and Kami walking to the other side of the lookout, before Kami simply asks who I am, and where I came from, as I am clearly not from this world. However, he senses I am human. I tell Kami that in simple terms, I'm from another universe. I don't tell Kami that his world is a manga in my universe, as to not freak him out, but I do tell Kami that I do know what is going to happen in the future. I also tell Kami that I have no clue how or why I'm here though. Kami doesn't sense any evil in me, and right now, he has no other explanation for my arrival, so he believes me, and the first thing he asks about is if Piccolo enters the upcoming martial arts tournament. I simply nod, but I tell Kami that it probably isn't wise for me to tell Kami any of the events that will happen, as if anyone else knows what will happen in the future, it may have unforeseen consequences. Kami agrees, and then I tell Kami that I'm going to need the Dragon Balls. Kami asks why, but I tell Kami to trust me. It is important I get stronger, and I know exactly how to do it. Kami nods, and he tells Mr. Popo to go gather the Dragon Balls. And after a couple of hours pass, Mr. Popo returns with all 7 Dragon Balls. Kami then summons Shenron, and I look in amazement at the dominant figure of Shenron, and then I try to make my first wish. I wish to become the legendary Super Saiyan. Shenron looks blankly at me, saying, "It is not within my power." And I look down, saying I expected as much. I then go with my second option, and I wish to become half Saiyan, and Shenron's eyes flash, then saying, "Your wish has been granted," before the Dragon Balls then disperse. I then tell Kami that he can't tell anyone about who he really is, and about what he just wished for. However, Kami says he doesn't need to be told that, and he then offers for me to train alongside Goku under him. I nod, saying even though I'm far behind right now, hell, I don't even know how to use Ki right now, but I will catch up. Kami then calls over Goku, and tells him that I will be training alongside him, and Goku is excited as he finally has a new training partner, even if I am far weaker than he is. So, my training under Kami begins, and while Kami teaches me how to use Ki and grow stronger with it, I also train with Goku in order to get physically stronger and test my abilities at the end of each day. I stay on the lookout for the events of the World Martial Arts Tournament, as even though I've made progress, I am still not strong enough to face off against Piccolo yet. However, Goku would actually be slightly stronger, meaning when he faces off against the son of the Demon King, he has a slightly easier time. However, the battle is still incredibly even like in canon. We now head into the time skip, where Gohan is born, and Goku is very lax on his training. However, I know about the imminent threat of Raditz, and the Saiyans, so I don't let up on my training at all. I have less growth due to not having a training partner, however, I still do grow quite a lot. We now arrive at the end of the time skip, where Goku and Gohan are about to head to Kame House, and I arrive outside of Goku's home. Goku being happy to see me, and so is Gohan, as I have stopped by every so often to lightly spar with Goku, and I created a bond with Gohan like I was his uncle, and in my head, I realised the irony to that. For the events which were about to take place, I fly to Kame House alongside Goku and Gohan, making sure to suppress my power, so Raditz still finds Piccolo first, and they have their fight like in canon. And when we arrive at Kame House, Goku not only introduces Gohan, but also introduces me. Shortly after, Raditz arrives, and I allow Raditz to have a speech, and even though it hurts me, I allow Raditz to kidnap Gohan, doing this without causing suspicion by having Raditz smack me into Kame House and acting more injured than I actually am. After Raditz is gone, I get back up, and I help Goku to his feet, with Piccolo arriving shortly after, and creating a temporary alliance. I knew if this event never took place, Piccolo may have never changed in the future, which is why I had to let Raditz take Gohan. Me, Goku, and Piccolo all arrive in front of Raditz, and we all remove our weights and power up to our fullest. And while Goku and Piccolo have power levels relative to their canon selves, I actually have a power level of 1,830. Bear in mind, the humans all got to power levels of over 1,000 with only 1 year of training under Kami, and even though they already had good control of Ki beforehand, I had much more training under Kami, along with my hybrid potential, so I think it is fine giving myself this power level for the time being. Raditz reads all of our power levels, and Raditz is terrified as he realises I alone am more powerful than him. So with all three of us fighting him at once, there will be no chance for him to win. However, to my confusion, Raditz begins to maniacally laugh. Raditz then creates a fake moon, before I even realise what is going on, and Raditz becomes a Great Ape with a power level that far surpasses all of us combined. I damn the world. I didn't believe Raditz had the ability to do this, and even though I know how to make Raditz revert back to his base form, it is going to be difficult. Especially since I'm the main target of Raditz, because of my power surpassing the other fighters. I shout for Goku and Piccolo to cut off Raditz's tail, as I attempt to dodge Raditz's attacks, however, it is futile, as Raditz grabs me and begins to squeeze the life out of me. Goku and Piccolo take this chance to fire consecutive beams at Raditz's tail, which burns it off, and as Raditz reverts to his base form, he slams me into the ground with his giant fist, just before his power reverts, which ends my life. Goku and Piccolo then had their battle with Raditz like normal, the only difference being there's no tail for Goku to grab, but in the end, he still gets Raditz in a full Nelson, and Piccolo kills the pair with a special beam cannon. Raditz still warns Piccolo of the Saiyan's arrival in 1 year before his death, and now, in Otherworld, Kami is requesting for me and Goku to train under King Kai, and this is where we're going to end off this part. This video begins with both Sacred and Goku arriving at King Kai's planet. Sacred could have got to the planet much faster on his own, however, he decided he would stay with Goku while traversing Snake Way. Once the pair arrive, they first have to tell a funny enough joke to make King Kai laugh, and after that, their training under the god commences. Sacred and Goku both learn the Kaioken and Spirit Bomb during their training, and with the two of them there to train with each other, their gains are doubled, meaning Goku here is at a base power level of 18,000, while I'll give Sacred a lower boost than Goku, because even though he does have a higher potential than Goku, he's already at a power level of 1,830 when he begins his training on King Kai's planet, meaning the 10 times gravity would be far less effective for Sacred. And since Goku is weaker than Sacred, Sacred would get less of a boost from training with someone who is significantly weaker than him, meaning after his training, he only reaches the base power level of 39,591, which even with him getting less gains than Goku did, he is still massively strong for this arc in his base form alone. The events on Earth start off the same, with the humans, Piccolo, and Gohan all taking on the Cybermen, with Yamcha dying, and then they all take on Nappa. However, this is the point where Sacred and Goku arrive. Sacred wanted to save as many people as possible, however, they narrowly missed being able to save Yamcha. Nappa would shoot a mouth blast at Sacred, creating a large gust of smoke. However, after the smoke dissipates, Sacred is seen standing there, completely unfazed. Sacred then outstretches his arm, and points the palm of his hand towards Nappa, smirking as his eyes look to Vegeta, and Sacred shouts, "Big Bang Attack!" Nappa screams in pain, as he is hit by the attack, and he's completely erased from the face of the earth. Sacred then looking at Vegeta, and then to Goku, telling Goku that Vegeta is all his. Goku and Vegeta have their battle like normal, which remains the same other than the fact Goku doesn't use the Kaioken, as his base form is already equal to Vegeta's. Goku only uses the Kaioken in the Kamehameha and Gallic Gun Beam struggle, and even then, he only uses the first level of Kaioken. However, unfortunately for Goku, Vegeta's Great Ape form is simply too much to handle, and he begins to squeeze the life out of Goku. However, this is where not only Sacred, but Piccolo also step in. Piccolo goes giant, distracting Vegeta enough for Sacred to grab Goku and bring him to safety, while Piccolo and Vegeta begin a brawling match. Piccolo stands absolutely no chance against Vegeta, and he knows that. He's just distracting Vegeta to buy Sacred enough time to make a plan like he did against Raditz. Sacred smirks, saying it looks like he's going to need to go all out for this, as he's engulfed by a red aura, and he shouts, "Kaioken times 5! Which boosts Sacred's power level all the way to 197,956, which surpasses Vegeta and Great Ape by a decent margin. Not only that, but Sacred is also smaller than Vegeta, meaning he is a more difficult target to hit. Sacred joins in the fight, and he is easily avoiding Vegeta's attacks. However, this only infuriates Vegeta, where he decides to take out all of that frustration on Piccolo, and he shoots a mouth blast, which kills the Namekian instantly. Sacred doesn't worry about this, as he already knows about the Namekian Dragon Balls. However, he still would prefer Piccolo staying alive. Sacred jumps around the wasteland, Vegeta attempting to hit him, however Goku is effortlessly evading, and then countering Vegeta with his own powerful attacks, which knock the Prince off balance. Vegeta begins to fall on his back. However, Sacred flies up, and he begins to carry Yardrat into the sky, punching him in the back, which sends him up even higher. And then, Sacred begins to charge up a Kamehameha. Vegeta looks down and sees Sacred doing this, then firing a mouth blast directly at Sacred. However, Sacred then fires a Kamehameha, which quickly overpowers Vegeta's attack, and hits the giant ape head on. Vegeta's giant body falls to the ground, Sacred breathing heavily as he falls out of Kaioken. Krillin then uses his Destructo Disc to cut off Vegeta's tail, and everyone watches as Vegeta reverts to his base form. Vegeta wakes up, clutching his stomach in great agony, and he sees a heavily exhausted Sacred, along with all the human fighters and Gohan standing there. Tien, Krillin, and Chaozu all vote to kill Vegeta here and now. However, Sacred and Gohan both disagree, and Goku, who is on the ground in great pain, also agrees with his son and Sacred. This means the votes are tied. However, Krillin would give in to Goku's wishes like he does in canon, meaning the votes are now unbalanced, and Vegeta is allowed to crawl to his space pod, and he flies away. Sacred and Goku are both taken to the hospital. Sacred is nowhere near as injured as Goku, however the Kaioken times 5 did still have a large strain on his body, so he will still be in the hospital for a bit of time. But while he is there, he does tell Bulma, who he is only meeting for the first time today, to build a gravity chamber inside of a ship that him and Goku will take to Namek, while the others go to Namek and Kami's ship. Bulma agrees, and so she will get her father to start working on it, and she will help before her group heads to Namek. And Bulma's group remains the same as normal, with Gohan and Krillin, as Kami's ship is too small to fit any more people, so Tien and Chaozu remain on Earth for the time being, and Tien will head to Namek with Sacred and Goku once they are both fully recovered. Sacred recovering earlier than Goku, and training with Tien in the newly built gravity ship, and Chaozu won't be coming, since Tien wants to keep him safe, and he doesn't think Chaozu can handle it. Goku is given a senzu bean soon after, and he joins Tien and Sacred in their gravity training, and with Tien saying his goodbyes to Chaozu, they begin to head to Namek. Since Sacred and Tien have a bit more training than Goku, they do have a slightly higher boost than they would normally, and since Sacred already has hybrid potential, he would grow at an even faster rate. This means, once a new group arrive on Namek, Tien has a base power level of 60,000, Goku has a base power level of 360,000, and Sacred has the greatest of all, wielding a base power level of 989,775. So right now, Sacred has a really big lead over Goku. However, we all know how quickly the power scales shift once we arrive on Namek. The gravity ship lands on the planet's surface of Namek, with Sacred, Tien, and Goku all exiting the gravity ship, and they breathe in the air of Namek for the first time. Sacred knows they have no time to waste, as he knows Gohan, Krillin, and Vegeta are currently in combat with the Ginyu Force, so he begins to sense energies all over the planet, until he finally locks onto Gohan and Krillin's ki, and he tells Tien and Goku to follow him as he flies off into their direction. Sacred, Goku, and Tien all arrive on the battlefield, Gohan and Krillin cheering in triumph as the three new fighters come face to face with the notorious Ginyu Force. And this is where we're going to end off this part. Goku, Tien, and I are all standing in front of the notorious Ginyu Force, and even though I know me and Goku could easily handle the Ginyu Force with our current strength, I know Tien can't, and I know we're going to need as much power as we can get for when we face off against Frieza. So I shout for Krillin and Gohan to take Goku and Tien to the Grand Elder Guru in order to get their potentials unlocked. I'll handle the Ginyu Force alone. Raccoon laughs, saying that I don't stand a chance. However, I then appear in front of Raccoon, grabbing his leg and throwing him into the sky, then shouting, "Dirty fireworks," as Raccoon is incinerated. I then again shout for the others to go, and this time they finally leave. The only one who stays is Vegeta, as he stares at me in awe, but then he regains focus and follows after the others. I then fly into the air, the remaining Ginyu Force members following close behind and surrounding me in a triangle formation. Captain Ginyu even arrived after detecting my suppressed power level on his scouter, which still surpassed his own power. The Ginyu Force all rushed towards me at once, Berta being the first to attack with a kick to my neck. However, I catch his leg, then slamming him into Jice, sending the two flying back, and I then lock fists with Captain Ginyu. Captain Ginyu commends my power, saying that he hasn't seen anyone as strong as me other than Lord Frieza himself along with his family. I then smirk, saying that Ginyu hasn't seen anything yet, and as I am about to show Ginyu my true power, Captain Ginyu kicks me back, making me fall into the arms of Berta, who gets me in a full Nelson. I begin to panic, knowing what is about to happen, and I attempt to break out of Berta's grasp. However, his grip on my body is too tight for me to break free. I damn the world, as Jice begins to laugh, and Captain Ginyu punches a hole in his own chest, and then he stretches out both his arms and legs as he shouts, "Change now!" We now head to the group of Goku, Tien, Gohan, Krillin, and Vegeta, all at Frieza's ship, with all the Dragon Balls gathered. Goku and Tien have both had their potentials unlocked, giving them a considerable boost in power. However, Vegeta wasn't even allowed to enter the Grand Elder Guru's home because of his unpure heart. The group are waiting for Sacred to arrive. However, once they see the figure of Sacred finally come into view, Goku sees the scouter and instantly realizes what happened, then shooting a ki blast at the figure of Sacred, which destroys the scouter and explodes in the man's face. The figure of Sacred lands, alongside Jice and Berta, the man asking how Goku caught on so quickly, but Goku says it's simple. Sacred would never need a scouter, and he could also sense a malicious ki, which Sacred doesn't have. Not only that, but before they even arrived on Namek, Sacred warned him about an ability which one of the Ginyu Force members possessed, which allowed them to switch bodies with people. Captain Ginyu was shocked, wondering how Sacred knew about his secret ability before they even arrived on the planet. But he isn't given time to ponder this, as Goku kicks Ginyu in the jaw, knocking him back into a mountain. Jice and Berta then go to punch Goku in unison. However, Goku catches both of their fists, throwing them to the feet of Tien, and he tells Tien to handle them. Goku then cracks his knuckles, saying that he also forgot to mention that Sacred told him the body swap ability's fatal flaw. It doesn't allow Ginyu to use Sacred's full power, does it? Ginyu says that Goku is lying. This is that Saiyan's full strength. He saw this exact power level with his scouter. Goku then smiles, saying that Sacred was suppressed that entire time, and it seems Ginyu is only able to utilize that suppressed state of power. I arrive inside of Captain Ginyu's body and tell Goku that it's me. Goku realizing I'm telling the truth after sensing my ki. And he then tells me to wait there as he rushes towards Ginyu in my body and begins to fight him, holding back at first. However, I tell Goku to go all out. There's a healing chamber inside of Frieza's ship I can use afterwards. Goku then decides to go all out, beating Captain Ginyu in my body to a bloody pulp, until Ginyu eventually tries to steal Goku's body and I jump in the way, regaining my own body. And when Ginyu attempts to steal Goku's body again, instead of throwing a frog in the way, I use my remaining ki to fire a big bang attack at the captain of the Ginyu Force, ending him once and for all. Goku brings me to the healing chamber and places me inside of it, then telling the others it's time they summon the dragon. However, once he attempts to do this, nothing happens. They quickly come to the conclusion that they need to speak the Namekian language in order to summon the dragon. So as Gohan and Krillin begin to fly to the Grand Elder Guru's home in order to get the code to summon the dragon, Vegeta decides to take a rest while he can, and Goku Tien guard me while I'm in the healing tank, and they try to discuss a strategy for facing the strong malicious ki that they sensed earlier. Gohan and Krillin meet Dende on their way to the Grand Elders, and Dende explains that he was sent there in order to help them summon the dragon called Porunga, and the three then head back to Frieza's ship. When the three arrive, they are greeted by Goku and Tien, and then they all fly a short distance away. Dende then summoning Porunga and asking the four what their wishes are. They have 3 wishes. The first 2 wishes are used in order to revive Piccolo and to bring him to Namek like normal. And like in canon, Vegeta arrives shortly after, as he wants the 3rd wish for himself. And it is this distraction which wastes time, and the Dragon Balls then turn to stone. Frieza then arrives on the scene, Vegeta stepping up to face the tyrant like normal, and the two seem to be evenly matched, while Frieza is in his first form. However, after Frieza transformed into his second form, Tien steps in, and seems to have a slight edge over Frieza. Frieza then realizes he has to get serious. He is still heavily outnumbered, and he is sure that the Saiyan in the orange clothing is even stronger than this Triclops he is facing, so his third form isn't going to be enough. Frieza transforms all the way to his final form, then extending his fingers as he shoots a flurry of death beams, piercing the chests of Tien, Vegeta, Krillin, and even Gohan. I then arrive. Dende decided to speed up my healing by coming to the healing tank and healing me himself. However, when I arrive, I see Piccolo, who has merged with Nail, just landing behind me. And when I see Goku, his entire body is shaking as lightning strikes around him. I then look around, my eyes widening as I see the bodies of Vegeta, Gohan, Krillin, and Tien. I haven't spoken to Krillin that much as of yet, and I don't really care about Vegeta. However, Gohan has been like a nephew to me, and me and Tien grew a strong bond during our training together. My body then begins to shake, in the same way as Goku's. I then shout for Dende to run and try to heal them, Dende faintly saying he doesn't think that they are still alive. But I shout for Dende to do it! Dende then runs over to the 4 bodies, Piccolo then following closely behind, and when Dende reaches them, it is as he expected, they are all dead. Piccolo picks up Krillin and Tien's bodies, telling Dende to carry Gohan and leave Vegeta there, as they both fly to where they sense Bulma. They need to get her, and then find the gravity ship in order to get out of there, because Piccolo can tell that the planet won't survive this fight. Frieza laughs, pointing his finger towards Piccolo and Dende, but as he is about to fire death beams at the pair, the ground under him shakes. Frieza's eyes then widen, as there's a look of fear on Frieza's face, as not only did he create 1 Super Saiyan, but he created 2? Both Goku and I were engulfed by golden lights, as both of us have golden hair and faces of sheer anger. Frieza instantly bulks up to his 100% form. However, even with this power level of 120 million, he is no match against Goku with a Super Saiyan power level of 250 million, and me with a Super Saiyan power level of 300 million. Frieza isn't even close in strength to one of us, so with me and Goku fighting together with a fury of 1,000 suns, he doesn't even stand a chance. However, before Frieza is killed by our hands, he sends an attack into the core of Namek, which begins to destroy the planet. Everyone else has already been teleported to Earth, meaning now, me and Goku are the only people on Namek, and I lead Goku to the Ginyu Force space pods for us to make our escape. These space pods taking us to Yardrat, where mine and Goku's training will commence. This video begins on planet Yardrat. I awake, wearing Yardratian clothing, and I see Goku nearby, stretching and adjusting to the new outfit. Goku sees I am awake, and he tells me that this big guy called Paibara wants to speak to us. And I instantly recognize that name, so I agree, as Goku tells me to follow him, as he will lead the way. The two of us arrive in front of Paibara, and I request for him to train us both. Paibara, sensing we both have pure hearts, so he does agree. However, Paibara says he would like to speak with me in private. I look to Goku, and Goku then walks out of the building, telling me he'll wait for me outside. After Goku leaves, Paibara says the sentence that I was dreading. The sentence which made a drop of sweat roll down my face. Paibara told me that he read my mind. I then ask Paibara if that means he knows everything, and Paibara simply nods. I then tell Paibara that means he knows why I need this training, and Paibara yet again nods, then saying he assumes I want to learn the Force Spirit Vision more than anything else. I then nod, and Paibara understands, saying that mine and Goku's training will now commence. Time passes. Goku and I complete our training on Yardrat and begin to head back to Earth. In canon, Goku is only able to learn the instant transmission. However, with me there as a rival, along with Paibara altering the way he trained Goku and I, we were both able to not only master instant transmission, but also Force Spirit Vision. On our way back to Earth, I am meditating, trying to sense the key of the Z Fighters on Earth. However, this is when I sense the arrival of Mecha Frieza and King Cold on Earth. I damn the world. I really did believe that me and Goku finished him off on Namek this time. I knew Frieza had amazing durability, but I truly am impressed. I then tell Goku through the ship's communications device that I'm going to use instant transmission to teleport to Earth. Goku can then do the same after me because he will be able to look onto my energy. Goku agrees, so I then put my fingers to my head, and then I appear on Earth. Vegeta and Piccolo were about to take on Mecha Frieza and King Cold. However, I tell the two to stand back. Goku then appearing beside me, and I tell Vegeta and Piccolo that we will handle this. Frieza looks terrified after he sees me and Goku appear. King Cold quickly understanding we must have been the two Super Saiyans which defeated his son on Namek. Goku powers up to Super Saiyan, expecting me to do the same. However, I tell Goku that I want to test out what we learnt from our training. Goku nods, saying he will take on King Cold. And I say that's fine, I have unfinished business with Frieza anyway. Goku and King Cold go off, and Frieza and I glare at each other, and not a word is spoken. Frieza and I then rush towards each other, the two of us clashing fists, and as soon as we do, I chuckle, and tell Frieza, the fight is already over. Frieza snarls, attempting to kick me in the waist. However, I then jump back, and I begin to drain his energy. Frieza is too infuriated to realise what I am doing, and he continues to aimlessly attack me, with him getting weaker and weaker by the second. Frieza is eventually too exhausted to move, and I then raise my arm to the air, showing Frieza all the energy I stole from him. Frieza looks terrified, as I then smile, and I then put all the energy I stole from Frieza into my own body. I get a massive power up, and I thank Frieza for the power before appearing in front of him and finishing him off with a final blast. Goku then arriving shortly after, and Goku and I begin to talk to the Z Fighters on the scene. We tell them the fruits of our training, but this is also where I warn the Z Fighters about a threat which will arrive in 3 years. I don't give them too many details as to not reveal how I have that knowledge. However, I do tell them that this threat will be stronger than a Super Saiyan, so they all need to train harder than ever before. The time skip begins, where I join the likes of Goku, Piccolo and Gohan to train for the android's arrival, and I have one goal in mind: to master Super Saiyan. And Goku also wanted to surpass the Super Saiyan barrier, so with my help, he decides he will try to do the same. But this isn't the only thing I do during this time skip. During this time skip, I gather the Dragon Balls to summon Shenron, and I wish for Goku to be cured from the heart virus. And as expected, Shenron is able to grant this wish with ease. With that being said, the time skip comes to an end, and I, along with the other Z Fighters, wait at the city for the androids to arrive. When I see Android 17 and Android 18, I know that these are the versions of the androids which can't be redeemed. So Goku and I power up into Mastered Super Saiyan, to the complete shock of everyone, other than Piccolo and Gohan. And Vegeta arrives as a mere Super Saiyan Grade 1, and because of his pride being crushed, by seeing the strength of Goku and I, he decides to take on the androids alone, before anyone even gets a chance to react. However, this leads to Vegeta's swift demise. Goku and I then rush in, Piccolo, Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha following closely behind, with Gohan trailing them. Once the battle began, I was overconfident. I thought that the androids wouldn't even be able to stand a chance against one Mastered Super Saiyan, let alone two. However, that is where I was greatly mistaken. I didn't think about the fact that the androids could be made stronger in order to overpower us, and that is exactly what happened. Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha were the first to fall. The androids moving too fast for me and Goku to save them, and they went to kill Gohan next. However, Piccolo jumped in the way, meaning the androids killed him instead. It took the combined power of me and Goku to match only one of the androids, and with both androids there, it was impossible for us to win. We couldn't even use Force Spirit Fusion on them because they don't even use Ki. Goku and I were fighting till the bitter end. However, unfortunately, it wasn't enough. My left eye was ripped out during the battle. Goku was killed, and I heard Gohan, who was hiding nearby, cry out in grief as he became a Super Saiyan for the first time. I knew Gohan had to survive, so with extreme pain in my heart, I had no other choice but to take the coward's way out and escape. I used instant transmission to teleport to Gohan, and before the androids could catch me, I teleported away. Many years would pass. Gohan comes to look like his future timeline self in canon, and I teach him to master Super Saiyan. I wanted to teleport to Namek in order to revive Piccolo, so the Earth's Dragon Balls would be restored. However, I feared the androids would notice, and just kill Piccolo again, meaning it would be pointless. Many died. Me and Gohan had countless fights with the androids over the years. However, my growth began to stagnate as I focused all my attention on helping to make Gohan stronger. I even had the idea of training in the hyperbolic time chamber. However, when I went to the lookout, I saw it was destroyed. Even with my knowledge of the androids, I still wasn't enough to defeat them. It was because of my arrogance that this all happened. But if anyone could prevent this from happening, then it is me. But not the current me. The me from the past. I knew changing the past wouldn't change my timeline. However, if the past version of me could grow even stronger than myself before his androids arrive, after he defeats them, he could come to my timeline and together with me, Gohan, and even Trunks, who has recently started to train alongside us, we might have a chance. So Bulma creates a time machine. And Gohan never dies or even loses his arm, because I use instant transmission to prevent this. But when we decide who should go to the past, I say that I should be the one to do it. And the others don't disagree. So I say goodbye to my friends as I enter the time machine, and I head to the past. This video begins while Goku and I are in our space pods returning to Earth from Yardrat. After Goku and I use instant transmission to arrive on Earth, and we deal with Mecha Frieza and King Cold, both Goku and I sense a strange energy. It is very similar to, no, identical to, my own. I already know what this means. If there was no future Trunks here, and I sense an identical energy to my own, then it must mean that the future version of myself came to the past. So I tell Goku to catch the others up to speed with what we learnt from Yardrat, while I use instant transmission to teleport to the energy. I appear in front of my future self. I quickly realise the scars on my future counterpart's body, and I see that the left eye of my future self is hidden. I ask my future self what happened, and he explains everything. How even Super Saiyan Grade 4 wasn't enough to handle the androids. How he lost his eye. How all the Z fighters still died, but how his version of Gohan still remains alive, and doesn't die to the androids. I ask my future self if he has an idea on how I'm supposed to defeat my version of the androids. They are going to be even more powerful than his ones, and my future self nods. In order to defeat the androids, he tells me that I must achieve Super Saiyan 2. If two Super Saiyan Grade 4s could match one of the androids in power, then a Super Saiyan 2 should at least be able to match one android. Which means Goku will also need to unlock Super Saiyan 2, so Goku and I can take them on together. I ask my future self how I'm supposed to both master Super Saiyan and go further beyond to unlock Super Saiyan 2 in only 3 years, while he hasn't been able to do that for the entire time he has been fighting the androids. My future self then tells me it is quite simple. I have the knowledge to not be arrogant in this upcoming fight, while he didn't. My future self then tells me that he will return with Gohan when the androids arrive, and he then departs, returning to his timeline, and then I go to the others, and this time I can actually explain the threat of the androids without being suspicious, and this time I know I have to make sure everyone gets stronger. I first use instant transmission to teleport all the human fighters along with Piccolo to King Kai's planet, in order for them to learn the Kaioken, and for the human fighters to train their bodies. After Piccolo learns the Kaioken, I bring him back to Earth, while leaving the humans there, and Piccolo then joins training with me, Goku, and Gohan. I want Gohan to also unlock Super Saiyan in this time, so while Goku and I stay in Super Saiyan for as long as possible to try and unlock Super Saiyan Grade 4, we are also giving Gohan pointers to achieve Super Saiyan for himself, while Piccolo aggressively battles him. Eventually, it works, and Gohan unlocks Super Saiyan, and he begins to train to unlock Super Saiyan Grade 4, while Goku and I begin to train towards Super Saiyan 2, and we are on the cusp of doing so. However, we run out of time, as we reach the day where the androids arrive. I also forgot to mention that I still use the Dragon Balls to remove Goku's heart virus. With that being said, we now head to the city where the androids arrive. The humans have come back from King Kai's planet, ready to show what they have learned, especially Tien, as he wants to show me that he hasn't fell behind. Everyone spreads out. I stay with Yamcha, as I know he will be the first one to encounter the androids, and once I spot Jiraiya and Android 19, I quickly power up to Master Super Saiyan, and I rush towards the pair, then shouting for Yamcha to find the others and bring them here. Yamcha says that he can fight too, and I say I know that, but it could take more than the both of us to win this fight. Yamcha reluctantly agrees, and flies off, leaving me to battle the two androids alone. However, it seems like I overestimated these androids' abilities, as I am able to handle myself against both of them with minimal effort. I quickly destroy Android 19, and I allow Jiraiya to run away, so I can follow him to his lab. I can sense the others flying a short distance behind me, so I know it is fine for me to continue forward. And while I'm flying, my future self along with future Gohan appear beside me. They used instant transmission to teleport to me as soon as they arrived in this timeline, and I ask the pair if they are ready for what they are about to face. Future me nods, saying even if these androids will be stronger than his are, he won't give up. Future Gohan agrees as the three of us continue forward, eventually arriving at Jiro's lab, which has just exploded. Android 17 killed Dr. Jiro, and then Android 17, Android 18, and Android 16 exit the destroyed ruins of the lab. Future Gohan and the future me get infuriated as soon as they see the androids, both of them instantly transforming into Master Super Saiyan and rushing towards the androids. Future Gohan then shouting that they killed his father and friends, but then Android 17 appears in front of him, saying he doesn't even know who he is, before slamming him into the ground. I know I have to get involved, so I transform into Master Super Saiyan and I join the fight. All three of us taking on Android 17 and Android 18, while Android 16 waits on the sidelines. He is only programmed to destroy Goku, not the others. We are losing against the androids, when the other Z fighters arrive. Goku and Gohan are already in Master Super Saiyan, and future Gohan tears up at the sight of his father. However, this reunion is short-lived, as the moment Goku arrives, Android 16 rushes towards him and begins to attack him, and Goku takes on Android 16, while the other Z fighters come to help against the other androids. Piccolo and Tien activate Kaioken and join the fray, while Krillin stands there, frozen and just watching the fight. Goku thought Android 16 would be a challenge, however Android 16 is only at the same strength as his canon self, because Jiro stopped working on him a long time ago, and Android 16 is no match for a Super Saiyan Grade 2, let alone a Super Saiyan Grade 4. So Goku destroys him with complete ease, and then joins the others to fight the androids. There are now 5 Mastered Super Saiyans, along with 2 Kaioken users fighting the androids, and Vegeta then also arrives, just to tip the scales even further. Vegeta may have not been training with the others, but don't think Vegeta has been slacking off. He has sensed how powerful the others were becoming, and he used that to drive himself further, and access Super Saiyan Grade 2. The androids are actually being overwhelmed, and they begin to panic. They didn't expect to have this much trouble. Everyone is putting their all into this fight. But then, my eyes instantly widen as I sense another presence. But before I can react, I hear the words, "Solar Flare!" and everyone is blinded. We all sense an incredible energy, and once our eyesight recovers, both my future self and I have a terrified expression on our face, as we are the only 2 people who know how bad this really is. we see the perfect jawline of the bio-android Perfect Cell. However, this cell is far more deadly than the one in canon. Not only did Cell absorb androids who are the levels of Super Saiyan 2 separately, but he also has my DNA. Cell smirks, glaring at me and my future self, as he says the simple phrase, "I know everything." Cell then says that he thinks he will make things a bit interesting and hosts the Cell Games. He knows that we will use the time chamber to train, and he welcomes a challenge, because unlike that other version of himself, he truly is perfect. However, he knows he still needs to grow stronger, thanks to the memories that I so generously gifted him. Cell then begins to fly off, but before he does, he gives the Z Fighters one final message. Cell tells them all that I knew about everything that has happened, and is going to happen, and I didn't stop it. All the people who have died since they have known me, they could have all been saved. Cell then flies off, and both my future self and I are standing there, paralysed. Everyone is looking at us, and future Gohan simply mutters, he could have saved his friends. And this is where we are going to end off this part. This video begins with both my future counterpart and I being surrounded by the Z Fighters. Tien asks if what Cell told them is true, and I am about to respond. However, I am interrupted by Kami, who telepathically told us all to come to the lookout immediately. Everyone is still for a moment, like time itself is frozen. However, Kami repeats himself, and then everyone makes their way to the lookout. Not a word is spoken on the way. Once everyone arrives on the lookout, Kami looks at the ground solemnly, and he admits to everyone present that he knew of my knowledge all along. I told him the day I arrived in this world of theirs. Kami then says that he agreed with the decision to not tell anyone the knowledge I possess. So if they are going to hold disdain for me for hiding my knowledge, then they should do the same for him. Everyone is looking away, having conflicted emotions, but Goku steps forward and he puts his arm on my shoulder. He says that he knows me. I wouldn't hide something like this without good reason. He trusts me, but Cell is a big issue. Goku trusts me with the knowledge that I possess, but who knows what Cell is capable of with that knowledge? So Goku asks me what the plan is. The others then finally look in my direction, and I explain my plan. Like Cell himself stated, we will use the time chamber to train, and to maximise this training, everyone will need to have a training partner best suited to them, which I have already figured out. But first, there's someone I need to collect. I put 2 fingers to my head, and I then teleport away, arriving on a strange planet, which is full of monstrous beasts. I then turn around, and I see a large Saiyan with green fur around his waist standing in front of me. A middle-aged Saiyan then runs over to me, asking if I'm here to rescue them, and I say that I am. However, under one condition. I introduce myself as Sacred, and I say that I already know their names, Paragus and Broly. I tell Paragus that I will bring them to a much more hospitable planet where they can live out the rest of their days in comfort. However, Paragus must allow Broly to come and train with him for 1 week. That's all. Paragus feels like there is a catch to this offer. However, with no other option, he reluctantly agrees to this deal. And I say that's great. I also tell Paragus that Prince Vegeta will be on that planet. But before Paragus gets angry and attempts to have Broly attack Vegeta, I transform into a Super Saiyan, and I tell Paragus that if he does that, then I will stop him. Paragus is terrified. He is in the presence of a Super Saiyan, and even though he is furious that Vegeta will be on the planet he is being taken to, he knows Broly is no match for a Super Saiyan. At least not right now, so for the time being, he will have to swallow his rage. He just has to remind himself that Prince Vegeta isn't his father. He probably doesn't even know what his father did to himself and Broly. I then tell Paragus and Broly to grab onto me, the pair looking confused, but doing so, and then I teleport back to the lookout. I introduce everyone to Broly and Paragus, and after I do so, I then say it is time I explain who will be training with who. The first people to go in the time chamber will be my future self and I. The next people will be Goku and present Gohan. The people after that will be Broly and future Gohan. And the final group will be Vegeta, Tien, and Piccolo. Piccolo doesn't need food, which is why the final group will be a group of 3. Also, neither Yamcha or Krillin want to train in the time chamber, since they don't think it will make a difference. I also say that Kami and Piccolo should merge to become one being once again, before Piccolo does his time chamber training, and Kami knows that it is the best course of action, so he merges into Piccolo, and Piccolo gets a large power boost. With that being out of the way, me and my future self enter the time chamber and commence our training. When we exit a day later, we both exit while in Super Saiyan 2. We mastered it in the same way as we mastered Super Saiyan. Goku and Gohan go in next, and they come out in the same state of Super Saiyan 2. And now it is time future Gohan and Broly go in. But before they do, my future self wishes future Gohan good luck, but future Gohan says to not act like nothing has changed. He is the reason his father and his friends died. He can't just forgive him for that. They will talk once this is all over. Future Gohan and Broly then enter the time chamber, and when they exit a day later, Gohan is in Super Saiyan 2, while Broly is in Akari. I'm surprised, as it seems Broly was able to both harness and control this power while in the time chamber. I hoped future Gohan would be able to help him do this, because Gohan had outbursts of rage which gave him immense power in the past. So I thought if anyone could teach Broly how to control that power, then it would be him. The final group then enters, and a day later, they also come out. Piccolo and TNF both increase their Kaioken output, while Vegeta was able to achieve Super Saiyan 2, however he hasn't mastered it just yet. Now everyone is done with their training, I say it is time for the final step of the plan. It would have been much more effective if we did this before the training in the time chamber, as we would have had time to control this power, but I decided against it. I wanted everyone to calm down a bit first. After everyone training for an entire year, most have came to forgive me for the most part. However, they still have questions. Others, on the other hand, had trust in me which can't be salvaged. Future Gohan being one of those people. Everyone other than my future self looks confused. But what do I mean, control this power? I tell them that we're going to create a Super Saiyan God. It will take a lot of energy, meaning they will probably only be able to create 2 Super Saiyan Gods for now. So the strongest among them should be the ones to become it. Nobody knows what Super Saiyan God is, but I tell them that they will soon see. And I then say for all the Saiyans to power up to their fullest. Everyone then realises that my future self and I are the 2 strongest Saiyans. Broly is close, and if he used that power future Gohan witnessed in the time chamber, then he certainly would be. However, it is uncertain if he could even control the power of a Super Saiyan God at the moment anyway. So it is decided that my future self and I are the ones who will become the Super Saiyan Gods. So the others ask what they need to do. I step up first. Both Gohans, Goku, Broly, my future self, and I all lock arms, and they all pour their energy into me. I begin to float into the air. I am engulfed by a fiery red aura, and once it dissipates, I am slimmer, and my hair and eyes are red. We then perform the ritual on my future self as well, and he also becomes a Super Saiyan God. I then tell everyone to stay up here on the lookout, while my future self and I go down and fight Cell. In the meantime, I also tell Goku to go to Namek, and get Dendi to become the new Guardian of the Earth. Goku nods, wishing us luck, before teleporting away. My future self and I then looking at each other in the eyes, with a look of determination. We then teleport to the Cell Games arena, and we are ready to face our strongest enemy yet. Cell turns around, seeing the pair of us, and smirking, saying there are still a couple of days before the Cell Games begin. Are we sure that we don't want to train some more? He can see we did that ritual to gain the power of the gods, but do we really think that is enough? I then step forward, saying if Cell has my memories, then he should know how powerful this form is. So why isn't he shaking in fear right now? Cell laughs, saying that I would never see him fearing for his life. No, he expected us to do the Super Saiyan God ritual. In fact, he's been preparing for it. Cell then states that thanks to the culmination of the DNA that he consists of, his potential is vastly superior to my own. He has the potential of Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, King Cold, and me. And Cell says that I already know how dangerous Frieza's potential alone is. Cell then goes on to say that he has also been training for their battle, but not some light training like Frieza did for 4 months. No, instead he decided to pay a visit to Capsule Corp and stole one of their gravity ships. He's been training inside of that with a clone of himself for the past 4 days or so. He may not have become as strong as Frieza did with that 4 months of training yet, however he is certainly a match for 2 Super Saiyan Gods. I tell Cell that he underestimates us greatly, and I then look to my future self, asking if he is ready to end this. My future self nods, and in unison, we rush towards the bio-android Cell. And this is where we're going to end off this part. This video begins with both my future self and I in Super Saiyan God, and we rush towards the bio-android Cell. We come towards him from different sides, trying to split his attention, and we both attempt to land a punch on his jaw. However, Cell catches both of our fists, and then slams us into each other, before throwing us a short distance away. My future self and I then decide to take a different approach, both powering up Kamehamehas in unison, and Cell laughs, flying up into the air, and then doing the same. Both my future self and I disappear, my future self appearing under Cell, while I appear above him, and we both then fire our attacks at the bio-android, Cell having no other option but to put up a barrier, negating both of our attacks, and Cell then appears in front of me, kicking me to the ground, and then appearing behind my future self, and whispering into his ear, "You are alone." The Sacred from this timeline may be forgiven, but his world wasn't ravaged by androids who kill countless innocent people. But you on the other hand, your so-called friends will never forgive you for letting them all die. And Gohan will never forgive you for letting them die either. My future self is paralysed because of the realisation that Cell is probably right. And then Cell punches a hole in my future self's chest, reverting into his base form, and my future self then falls to the ground, on the brink of death. Cell then glares at me, saying that I might as well give up, because standing against him is futile now. I then smirk, saying for someone who has my knowledge, Cell is rather stupid. Cell has a confused expression on his face, but then I raise one arm into the air, and Cell realises what I'm doing. But it's too late. I use Force Spirit Vision on Cell, and I remove the androids from him, reverting Cell to his imperfect form, and then Cell begins to panic, knowing the only chance he has is to self-destruct, because that may make him Super Perfect Cell. However, before he can, I appear in front of him and fire a point-blank Kamehameha, killing the bio android once and for all. I then walk over to my future self, feeding them a senzu bean, and they quickly recover, jumping up and asking where Cell is. I tell my future self what happened, and he's relieved, but I can tell something is on his mind. I ask him what Cell said to him, but my future self says it doesn't matter, before changing the subject and beginning to walk towards the two androids on the ground. I follow closely behind, and my future self says that I'm going to let them live, aren't I? I then nod, saying that he knows as well as I do that they can be redeemed, at least in this timeline. And besides, Android 18 reminds me of someone from our world. Doesn't my future self see it? My future self slightly smirks, saying he supposes he knows who I'm on about, the one who always seemed to be out of reach for us. I then laugh, patting my future self on the back and saying yeah, that's the one. I then carry the unconscious bodies of the androids to Lookout before we summon Shenron, and I wish to revive everyone killed by Cell, and I then wish to remove the bombs from the androids. The androids woke up before I did this, seeing me wish for that, and the wish being granted, and they have mixed emotions right now, but decide to fly off for the time being. The others ask if I am sure we should let them go, and I simply nod. Even if they do stay evil, I am strong enough to kill them now anyway. I am then forcefully reverted into my base form, as I lose the Super Saiyan God form, as it was only temporary from the ritual. However, I still retain its power in my base form, and so does my future counterpart. My future self and future Gohan then head back to their own timeline, in order to defeat the androids. All of us saying goodbye as they do, but I stare at my future self as they leave, and he is still looking like something is wrong. In the future, Gohan and I have returned to our timeline. Gohan hasn't said a word to me since the defeat of Cell, and I still have what Cell said on my mind. We return to Capsule Corp, where we find a distraught Bulma, and I tell Bulma to calm down and tell us what happened. Through tears, Bulma says that Trunks went to fight the androids by himself, and they killed him. Gohan is enraged, transforming into Super Saiyan 2 out of pure anger, and he turns to me and shouts that it's my fault. Bulma is confused, but then Gohan tells Bulma that I knew everything that was going to happen, but I didn't stop it. Bulma looks at me in disbelief. Gohan then shouting that I need to leave and never come back. He thought he could forget what I did, but he can't. He won't. Not now. Gohan then flies off to go kill the androids, and Bulma faintly mutters, "Is it true?" I solemnly nod, before teleporting away, appearing on Namek, where I ask for the Dragon Balls. The Namekians don't recognise me at first, but after I tell them who I am, they come to realise it really is me, and they happily allow me to use the Dragon Balls. Porunga is summoned, and I have 3 wishes to make. I have a Namekian next to me in order to translate my wishes, and I begin to say them. My first wish is to revive everyone killed by the androids. My second wish is to restore all the damage done by the androids. And my final wish is to be transported to a random desolate planet. The Namekian is confused as to why I wanted the third wish. However, he doesn't question it, and he translates all of the wishes to Porunga, and they are all granted. I appear on a desolate planet, beginning my isolation as I reflect on my life. And on Earth, all the Z fighters appear, and head to Capsule Corp, where they sense Gohan's energy. Goku is the first to arrive, and he asks Gohan where I am, and Gohan coldly says that I left, and won't be coming back. In the present timeline, my head begins to hurt, and a single tear falls from my eye. My head then stops hurting, and I wonder what just happened. I must have just had a headache or something. Goku comes up to me, and puts his hand on my shoulder, saying it's time. Everyone is waiting. I tell Goku that I am ready, and Goku and I then teleport to Capsule Corp, where all the Z fighters are waiting. I step forward, saying that I owe everyone an explanation, so I start from the beginning. I obviously can't tell them that they are all in a manga from where I come from, but I tell them that I am from a different universe, a different timeline, and I've seen the future up until a certain point. For example, in 7 years there will be a threat known as Majin Buu, who's more powerful than multiple Super Saiyan 2s. However, with the power I have now gained, I can defeat the creature in my base form. I then say that the reason I didn't tell anyone other than Kami this is because I was afraid of what drastically changing the timeline would cause. For all I knew, saving one life could have caused the death of thousands of others. However, I've been in this world long enough to realise that isn't the case, and from now on, I'm going to be honest with all of them. The fighters were conflicted before, but after hearing my explanation, they can understand where I'm coming from. And they have all known me for so long, they know I'm not a bad person. With that weight being lifted off my shoulders, I'm happy at last, and I cheerfully ask, who's ready to train? This video begins in the time skip between the Cell Saga and the Buu Saga. I decide to finish my training on Yardrat under By Ryu, but I also suggest to Broly that he comes along with me. I tell Broly that he's come a long way in controlling his anger. I mean, he was able to master Ikari after all. However, I know Broly has much more power within him, which is accessed by his anger. And if he accidentally activates that power, he will need to be able to calm his mind to control it. And training on Yardrat will be perfect for that. He'll be able to master ki control and learn how to be at peace with himself. Broly actually likes this idea. He doesn't enjoy battling to the death or anything like that, but he did start to enjoy a bit of training from when he was in the time chamber, and he would like to make sure he never loses control of himself, so he agrees to come to Yardrat with me. Paragus would refute this at first, saying that he can control Broly perfectly fine, going into his pocket to pull out the remote to Broly's electric collar, but once he does, I shoot a miniature ki blast at the remote, and I then rip the collar off of Broly. I then tell Paragus that he can't control Broly anymore. He can make his own decisions. Paragus looks to Broly. Broly looking away, and Paragus realising that I am right. Paragus reluctantly saying fine to Broly training with me, and Broly has an excited expression on his face. I then put my hand on Broly's shoulder, and we teleport to Yardrat, where after speaking to By Ryu, Broly's allowed to train there as well as I am, and we train there for 3 years. After these 3 years, Broly decides to go back to Earth, and using instant transmission, he does so. However, I decide to stay on Yardrat and continue my training for the next 4 years. I don't even consider the idea that the others could surpass me in terms of power, because not only do I have my god-infused base, but I was also training with the legendary Super Saiyan for 3 years with my hybrid potential. That is a deadly combination. Even if the others on Earth did the Super Saiyan God ritual after the birth of Goten, they still wouldn't be able to catch up. Though Broly, on the other hand, is able to match me base to base, and once he uses Super Saiyan, which he has now mastered thanks to my help, he actually matches me in Super Saiyan as well. Though if he combined his Ikari with Super Saiyan like I have tried to get him to do, then he would far surpass me in Super Saiyan 2. And I haven't been able to use Super Saiyan God ever since my fight with Cell, so if Broly attempted that and went berserk, we would have a big problem on our hands. We come to the end of the time skip, where almost everyone arrives at the World Martial Arts Tournament. Android 18 is there, but not with Krillin, as she still retained feelings for me, and came to the tournament in hopes to see me once again. I am not there yet, as I am finishing my mastery of another technique on Yardrat, and Broly didn't want to participate in the martial arts tournament, and believed those friends could handle that threat which I told them about, so he stayed home with Paragus. The tournament remains the same, other than when the Supreme Kai Gabito asked for help to stop Majin Buu's revival, as all of the fighters already knew about Majin Buu. However, as to not rat out their universe-travelling friend to the gods, they act like this is new information, and agree to help the Kais. So from here, Gohan's energy is still stolen, but this is not because the Supreme Kai has the power to hold Gohan, but Gohan lets his energy be taken. Since Goku stayed alive, Gohan actually kept up with his training quite a bit, and had a school and training balance. So right now, he's actually the strongest fighter on Earth other than Broly. Well, as far as everyone knows anyway. The group follow Bobity's minions to a ship, and the events start off the same until Gohan's fight against Dabura. This time, instead of the fight taking a long time because they are so close in power, it takes a long time because of Gohan's arrogance. He hasn't had the training like in Super to get rid of that arrogance, so Dabura is able to escape, and he informs Bobity about the evil he sensed in Vegeta. And with Bobity sensing it as well, Majin Vegeta is born. Goku and Vegeta go off to have their fight, while Gohan goes with Shin, and this time, he finishes off Dabura quickly. However, since Gohan was stronger, that means more energy was taken, so Buu was able to be brought back earlier, so right after Gohan kills Dabura, Buu arrives. And even though Gohan is a lot stronger than his canon self, Gohan can't overpower Buu. Gohan is around equal to Buu in terms of power, but with Buu's seemingly infinite regeneration and energy, Gohan can't get the upper hand, and Gohan eventually gets exhausted, and Buu begins to beat on the Half Saiyan until Majin Vegeta shows up, as Vegeta tricked Goku like normal, and knocks him out. Vegeta still sacrifices himself like normal, and Gohan is taken to the world of the Kais to escape. So right now, the Buu Saga actually remains practically the same, but this will begin to change soon. Goku would have his battle with Fat Buu like normal, Goku revealing he unlocked Super Saiyan 3, however he wouldn't be able to finish off Buu because of the stamina drain of Super Saiyan 3. And this time, instead of referring to the fusion of Goten and Trunks when telling Buu he'll be able to fight a much stronger guy, he's referring to both myself and Broly. Goku would teleport away, and he would first go to Broly, and take him to the lookout, where he explains the situation, and everyone is wondering why I'm not here. There's no way I'd forget. We head back to Buu, he becomes friends with Hercule like Cannon, and Super Buu still happens, and he heads to the lookout, but once Super Buu arrives on the lookout, he looks confused, asking where that strong energy he felt went. Goku says that Buu must be referring to Broly. Well, he just went to go get his other strong friend, so he'll have to wait a bit for them to get back. Super Buu spikes his ki, saying he will play with them in the meantime, and everyone on the lookout then powers up to their fullest, in order to buy Broly and I some time. Goku in Super Saiyan 3, Goten and Trunks in Super Saiyan, and Piccolo utilising Kaioken. But Buu then maniacally smirks, as pieces of him come from behind all of the fighters, and he absorbs all of them. He knew he was no match for that intense power he sensed earlier, so he decided he would borrow their power in order to take that person on. So now, Bucku is born, and he sits on the lookout, waiting for that guy he sensed to return. On Yardrat, Broly is rushing me to finish my training quickly, and I tell Broly to relax, as either one of us could handle Buu with ease. I don't know why Broly didn't just fight Buu himself, but Broly says that it was Goku's idea, not his. I finally finish learning the technique, and I thank Paibara for allowing me to train under him for so long, then departing with Broly to Earth, and we teleport to Paragus, since we couldn't sense anyone else's energy. Now we are on Earth, we can sense our friend's energy, but it's different, like Cell all over again. But my eyes then widen, as I know what that means. Buu absorbed them all. I know how bad things could get if Buu somehow absorbed Broly. So I tell Broly to wait here, and if I don't come back in 10 minutes, then he should come and help. Broly says fine, and I fly off to the lookout, landing in front of Buu, and Buu opens his eyes, staring at me, and saying that I'm not the guy he wanted to fight, but I'm just as strong anyway. I know I can easily save my friends with Force Spirit Fusion, however Buu has Goku and Piccolo's memories, so he knows I have that technique as well, so he will be on guard. I power up to Super Saiyan 2, saying that I could beat him in my base form if I wanted to, but I'm going to end this in an instant. Buu says he would like to see me try, and he then stands up, telling me to come at him, but I know something must be up, so I sense my surroundings to make sure there are no separated pieces of Buu scattered around, but there aren't. So I rush towards Buu with immense speed, and as I am about to punch Buu uses instant transmission to teleport behind me, and my eyes widen as Buu tricked me. Buu had a separated piece of himself hidden behind him, so instead of punching Buu, I fly straight into Buu's trap. And just like my friends, I get absorbed. Sacred Buu is born, and he now not only has my insane power, but also my knowledge. But Buu still wants to fight a strong person, so he first teleports to Broly, who is standing outside of his home in the city. Broly realises what happened, and he's about to power up, but Buu then explodes his ki, destroying the entire city, and Broly barely puts up his guard in time to save himself. Broly then looking around at the destroyed city, and becoming sad and angry at the same time. But then, Broly turns around, and he realises that his father is dead. Broly holds his head, and he begins to lose control, first transforming into a Kare, but then his pupils explode, as he not only becomes a Super Saiyan, but he unleashes his green haired form. Buu gets excited, as he begins to fight the Berserk Broly, and he is having the time of his life. Him and Broly fight as equals, their battle taking them across the entire planet, and even reality breaks because of their sheer power. However, Buu begins to panic, as Broly continues to grow stronger, and surpasses him, then beating on Buu, and if it wasn't for Buu's regeneration, he would be dead. Their battle continues, until Buu sees the planet around them healing, and Buu begins to feel weird as he reverts to his Super Buu state, as everyone he absorbed is removed from him, and for some reason, Broly is then reverted to his base form. Super Buu has no clue what happened, but before he can react, I then hit Buu, and I use Force Spirit Fusion to take Fat Buu out of him before finishing Evil Buu off with a quick ki blast. I give a sigh of relief, as on Namek, Gohan along with the Kais have summoned Porunga, and they wish to reverse all the damage caused by Buu, which includes reviving everyone he killed, then wishing to remove everyone from Buu, and then wishing to calm Broly down. It turns out that after Gohan released the Elder Kai and unlocked his ultimate form, the battle between Sacred Buu and Broly had already begun, so instead of going to Earth and hopelessly attempting to fight either a Berserk Broly or Sacred Buu. He decided he could solve all the problems with the Dragon Balls. It seems Gohan didn't need to get the ultimate form after all, however it will certainly be nice to have. But now, with the Buu Saga being over, and my return to Earth, how will Battle of Gods be different? What new techniques have I learnt on Yardrat? Will Broly be able to gain control of his new power? We'll save those questions for the next video. So at the end of the last video, we covered the events of the Buu Saga. So we're going to start off today's video in Battle of Gods. Beerus wakes up like in canon after having a dream about a Super Saiyan God, but this time when he asks Whis about it, Whis tells Beerus that there actually is a Super Saiyan God. Whis looks into his staff, showing Beerus a battle between me, my future self, and Cell. And once Beerus sees the red hair and godly aura, he instantly recognises it as a form from his dream. Though he is irritated there was time travel taking place while he was sleeping. But the time travellers have been gone for a number of years now, so there's nothing he can do about it. Luckily for me, Whis doesn't look any further into the past, because if he did, then he would have realised I'm not even from this reality, which probably wouldn't have made Beerus too happy. On Earth, it is Bulma's birthday party, and while I'm speaking with Gohan, I'm just waiting for Beerus to show up. I assume Beerus will first go to fight Goku on King Kai's planet like in canon, so I think I still have a bit more time before he arrives. But once I sense an overwhelming presence arrive on Earth, I realise my assumption was wrong. I turn around to see Vegeta sucking up to Beerus, and I then walk up to the god, introducing myself, and Beerus is pleased as he sees that I am the Saiyan he was looking for. Vegeta looks at me with a shocked expression on his face, and I use telepathy to tell Vegeta to go along with it, as I act confused, and I ask Beerus why that is. Beerus tells me to transform into a Super Saiyan God, and I do so, as after all my training on Yardrat, I learned how to access it at will, like Goku did with Super Saiyan in canon, and both myself and Goku did in this version of events. Beerus smirks, telling me to fight him, but before I can say a word, Beerus punches me into the sky. Everyone at Bulma's birthday party watching as the battle between myself and Beerus begins. I know as a Super Saiyan God, I won't be able to truly give Beerus a challenge, but luckily, over these many years of training, I was finally able to go beyond the barrier of Super Saiyan God. My hair suddenly turns blue as Beerus is amazed, and our battle resumes, and I'm actually living up to the prophecy of being a rival to Beerus. Think about everything I've done. I'm a half Saiyan, with the insane hybrid potential which comes with that, and after I got God Ki all the way back in the Cell Saga, I then absorbed that God Ki into my base form, and I then trained with the legendary Super Saiyan for many years after that. This also combined with all the other training I did, and my complete mastery over the techniques on Yardrat. Yeah, I'm powerful, and I am a challenge for Lord Beerus. Beerus and I continue to trade blows. As I evade from blow from Beerus and counter with a powerful attack of my own, Beerus does the exact same thing. And this cycle continues for a long time. Neither myself or Beerus seem to have a clear edge in the battle, as we just keep on countering each other's moves. Punch after punch, kick after kick, ki blast after ki blast. The struggle seems to be never ending. Unfortunately, it is soon revealed that Beerus does have the slight edge, and so after a long and intense battle, Beerus comes out up top, and is the victor of the Battle of Gods. After the battle has ended, Beerus not only offers for me to train on his planet, but also offers for me to become a God of Destruction candidate, and I actually do consider this. If I know every bad thing that is going to happen up until a certain point, and I would have the ability to act on that knowledge due to having the role of God of Destruction, and even if in the end I don't become the God of Destruction, the power I would gain from that kind of training would be exponentially beneficial to me. So I accept this offer, but only under one condition. Beerus asking what that condition is, and I say that I will become the God of Destruction candidate, but only if any of my friends who choose to train on Beerus' world as well are allowed to do so. Beerus considers this, thinking it would be useful to have some other strong warriors in his universe. So he agrees, and says that himself and Whis will return soon to take them all to his planet for training, before the two then leave. After they leave, I then go to every fighter I know, and I ask if they want to train on Beerus' world. So when Whis and Beerus return after a bit of time, myself, Goku, Vegeta, Broly, and Piccolo all decide to train in this world. Piccolo does nothing but meditate and train anyway, so he thought this would be a great opportunity. And Broly wants to make sure he can control his full power, so training with the gods may help him do that. I did ask Gohan along with the human fighters if they also wanted to come, but Gohan doesn't want to leave the Earth for too long, and the humans just think they are too far behind to catch up anyway. Tien was the only one of them who did consider coming, but he recently started a dojo, which he needs to oversee. So with us three Saiyans and Piccolo training on the world of the God of Destruction, our training is mostly under Whis' guidance. But at the end of every day, Beerus and I will have a sparring match, where I show off what I've learnt, and Beerus will teach me something new himself. Beerus himself has also begun training a bit again, since he wants to make sure I don't overtake him so quickly. And by the time of Resurrection F, Broly has mastered his full power Super Saiyan state, like how everyone masters Super Saiyan in canon. And in this version of events, Goku and Vegeta have pushed themselves even further in training, alongside having more time training on Beerus' planet, since they began their training earlier. So not only have Goku and Vegeta both achieved Super Saiyan Blue, but they've also pushed further beyond in different ways. Goku with Blue Kaioken, and Vegeta with Blue Evolution. Frieza would be revived like in canon, and after 4 months of training, he would head to Earth. But the likes of myself and the others on Beerus' planet don't even need to come to Earth, because Gohan here has kept up with his training on Earth, mainly training with Tien, while Tien's in Kaioken, and Gohan remains in his base form. And with an ultimate Gohan who has kept up his training while still being a scholar, he is able to overpower Frieza and knock him out. Myself then appearing beside Gohan and telling him that he has won this battle, but I will make sure that he will never have to battle Frieza again. I aim my hand at Frieza, a purple ball of energy appearing in my hand, as I mutter, Hakai, and Frieza is then erased from existence. We now head to the Tournament of Destroyers arc, the Universe 7 team consisting of myself, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Broly, and as you can probably tell, this team is very broken. Goku is first up, and as per normal, he defeats Botamo, but still loses to Frost Poison. I originally knew Frost had this, but I also knew if Goku didn't lose in that way, then nobody else in the Universe 7 team would be able to fight, so I let it happen for the sake of a fun tournament. Piccolo goes up next against Frost, defeating him easily, without even using Kaioken or his God Ki. But unfortunately, even though this Piccolo is powerful, Vegeta seems to be the perfect counter to a Namekian like Piccolo. Namekians survive purely off water, and with Vegeta making the entire arena boiling hot, Piccolo gets knocked out of the arena, before he even gets a chance to show off his true power. Vegeta is up next, teaching Kaba how to become a Super Saiyan like in canon, and after knocking him out of the arena, he battles against Hit. But even in Super Saiyan Blue alone, this version of Vegeta pushes Hit to evolve his time skip, so when Vegeta activates Blue Evolution, he easily demolishes Hit. So with that, the Tournament of Destroyers comes to an end, with Universe 7 being the easy victors of the tournament. Zeno still arrives after the fact, along with his guards, and while Goku walks up to Zeno and befriends their childish being of pure destruction, I do consider attempting to do the same. But since I'm not entirely certain if Zeno would be able to know if someone isn't from the multiverse which I believe he created, I decided it is probably better if I keep my distance. After a small conversation with Goku, Zeno then leaves the arena along with his guards, and with them gone, Beerus now begins to decide on what he wants to wish for. I understand that this may be my chance of being able to wish myself to my home dimension, but not only would Beerus not allow that wish, Beerus doesn't even know about me being from another dimension. And not only that, but I am also reconsidering my goal of going back at this point. I've been in the Dragon World for so long now, far longer than I spent in my home dimension, and I can't help but wonder if I should really go back or not. Either way, that is a thought for another time, as I wouldn't be able to get the wish here anyway, so Beerus still decides to wish for the Earth and Universe 6 to be restored. And we now head back to Universe 7, but just not the main timeline one. In the future timeline, I'm in the middle of training on a desolate planet, when I sense an energy arrive. That's the first time I've sensed an energy on this planet since Deborah and Bobbidi, so I am instantly confused, as I look up and see Vegeta Black hovering in the air. I then smirk, thinking to myself that he has finally arrived, and Vegeta Black then lands on the ground. However, before he can even say a word, I power up to Super Saiyan God, and with a single ki blast, I kill the man. And now, it is time I can put my plan into effect. But this is where we're going to end off this part. The last video ended off in the future timeline, with me killing Vegeta Black, and deciding it is finally time to enact my plan. I walk over to the scorched remains of Vegeta Black, and pick up his time ring, placing it on my finger under my glove, and then I use instant transmission to teleport to planet Namek. Once I arrive, I meet up with the Elder Mori, and request he use his planet's Dragon Balls. Since I helped save their entire race in the past, He happily accepts, and once the Dragon Balls are gathered, he asks me what I wish for. My one and only wish is to be transported to Planet Cereal. I don't need the other two. Elder Mori speaks to Parenga, and the wish is granted. And then, I appear on Planet Cereal. Now on Planet Cereal, I quickly scour the planet for the two Dragon Balls, and after summoning the dragon, I wish to become immortal. I knew the Namekians would have never granted that wish, so I thought I'd use the Cerulean Dragon Balls instead. Once the wish is granted, I then hit myself with a clothing beam, giving myself a darker outfit, and then I teleport to the world of the Kais, eliminating Shin, which in turn kills Beerus, and then I teleport to Earth. Once I arrive, the future Z fighters sense my energy and all fly in. Future Goku, future Gohan, future Trunks, future Vegeta, and future Piccolo all show up. Even the future human fighters arrive on the scene. Future Gohan flies up to me, asking what happened to me, but I say that I'm not who he believes I am. Gohan is confused, but I then kick him into a building. All the Z fighters looking in shock, as Goku and Vegeta both power up into Super Saiyan Blue, and future Trunks does the same. All the future Z fighters had defeated Majin Buu, and eventually Beerus came, and they trained under him and Whis. But now, the gods are no longer there to help them. The 3 Saiyan warriors all rush at me at once, but in base form, I dodge all of their attacks, grabbing Goku's fist and snapping his arm, before I throw him into Vegeta, and when Trunks tries to land a kick on my jewel, I simply let him, and Trunks is terrified as I am completely unfazed. I then proceed to hit Trunks in the stomach with a ki blast, and he is sent into another building. Piccolo is about to try join the fight, but my glare alone paralyzes the Namekian, and I then raise an arm into the air, creating a giant ball of energy, and Goku quickly flies to all the Z fighters and uses instant transmission, teleporting them all away, as I throw the ball at the city and erase it off the face of the earth. The Z fighters are panicking, not sure what is happening. Is that really sacred? It can't be. Bulma is trying to get in contact with Whis, but there's no response, and even though reluctant, future Gohan has an idea. There is only one person who may both know what is going on and defeat whoever this is. Everyone instantly knows what he's on about, and all think they should do it immediately, but future Gohan isn't sure they can trust him. Goku tells his son that it's their only option, and even though he knows what Gohan thinks, Sacred isn't a bad person. Future Gohan looks away, and Bulma says that they have a problem, as she pulls up her security footage, and they see me floating in the air above Capsule Corp. Goku and Vegeta say that they'll distract the guy that looks like Sacred, while Trunks and Gohan go back into the past. Trunks agrees, and so does Gohan. So reluctantly, while Goku and Vegeta fly outside in Super Saiyan Blue, Trunks and Gohan return to the past. In the present timeline, I'm on Earth, taking a break from my intense training with Beerus, and Goku and Gohan are cheering me on as me and Broly are arm wrestling. Broly's in his full power Super Saiyan form, while I'm in Super Saiyan Blue. We seem to be evenly matched, but gradually, Broly's overpowering me, and wins the arm wrestling match. Me and Broly then return to our base forms, fist pumping, and then I sense the arrival of future Gohan and future Trunks. Gohan and Trunks then exit the time machine, and I immediately think I know what is going on. Once they begin explaining the situation, my belief is even further true. I told them about Zamasu, and how he must have taken over a version of my body. But that still doesn't explain where my future self is, unless it was his body which Zamasu took over. Either way, I need to go with them to help them, so I enter the time machine, and then Goku and Vegeta squeeze in as well, with Broly and present Gohan holding onto the outside as we teleport to the future. We arrive in a recently destroyed Capsule Corp, and I see Sacred Black floating there, holding the heavily injured future Goku and Vegeta by their throats, and he then drops them as he sees our arrival. Sacred Black then smirks, activating corrupted Super Saiyan God, and then rifts in the sky appear, with clones of him coming out. I tell Broly to quickly go and heal the future Goku and Vegeta, so they can all work together to fend off the clones. I'll handle the real deal. I then fly towards Sacred Black, grabbing him as I fly to a desolate city, and attempt to punch Sacred Black, but he catches my punch, and then headbutts me before kicking me back. I smirk, cracking my knuckles, and saying that this isn't going to end well with Zamasu. Sacred Black laughs. You really fell for the bait, didn't you? You really believed I was Zamasu. No, I am future you. Though, you can now call me cursed. I have a shocked expression on my face. What? No. I could never become a villain. No version of me. Why would you become this? What is wrong with you? Cursed Saiyan's expression changes to one of hate. Save your breath, because in my eyes, you are the villain. You're so caught up in your blissfully ignorant ideals that you've become blind to the truth. You were forgiven for the so-called sin of keeping our knowledge hidden. But me? I was shunned, exiled from my home. My friends, no, my family, betrayed me. So try to stop me if you wish, but don't confuse your naivety for heroics, because I am the victim. I stand defiantly. Maybe you're right. I don't know what you've been through, but we both know I've been through more than most people as well. Yet I'm standing here, still trying to save everyone, when nobody's ever even thought that I may need saving too. I know you're hurt, but you have to stop this. Think of all the innocent people you're hurting. Cursed Saiyan's face becomes even more enraged. Think of the people? Why would I think of the people when they have never once thought of me? They left me to rot when I needed them most. They turned a blind eye and allowed my hatred to fester, my mind to twist for years. So now, when I try to think of the people, all I can think of is how to make them feel the way that I did. My expression becomes more sad. This isn't you. This isn't who we are. I point at myself. This is who we are. This is who I am. And if you think I won't stop you, then you need to think again. I will help you see. I won't give up on you. I get into my fighting stance, and Cursed begins to chuckle maniacally. You know, bravery often overlaps with stupidity. Coming here was certainly a bit of both. Nonetheless, I'm intrigued. So show me how you will save me. Cursed and I then rush at each other with immeasurable speed, clashing blow for blow, but Black has the edge, and is pushing me back. I am alone in this world. Bobbidi allowed me to turn my depression into rage before I slaughtered him, and now I will do the same to you. Cursed and I continue to trade blows, but I begin to gain the advantage. You aren't alone. You are loved. Your desire for vengeance isn't needed. Cursed powers up a Kamehameha. It is more than a desire. It is a necessity, an aching, gnawing sensation that slowly consumes my every thought. You can't change what is set in stone. I power up a Kamehameha. Your words are shrouding how you truly feel. I know how much you are hurting inside, and I won't let you hurt alone. We both fire our Kamehamehas, the beams clashing, and the Z-fighters who are fighting the clones all turn to our direction in shock at the power. I shout to myself, your friends care about you. Gohan, although reluctant to admit it, regrets what he did, and the others never agreed with the decision in the first place. They tried to search for you, but you hid your key. Curse shouts back, I have no friends. They only take until I have nothing left, and then they ask me for more. Our beams disperse as I appear in front of Cursed, hugging him, as I say, you have to let me in. We've been through so much. Don't let this be the thing that destroys you. Cursed then lets out a tear. I don't know if I could put myself back together this time, as he stabs me through the chest with a keyblade and throws me to the ground. Cursed then flies back to the main group as I lay on the ground in immense pain. I don't know what to do. Is this what bottling everything up does to me? Is this what doing everything alone causes? The Z-fighters are barely holding off the clones when the real Cursed arrives and begins to beat on the Z-fighters one by one. You are no more significant than insects to me. I was once burdened by morality like you all, but no longer. Cursed is about to slice Broly in half, but I appear, catching the keyblade in between my hands before snapping it, and then grabbing onto Cursed and throwing him a long distance away as I chase after him. You have to stop this now! But Cursed just begins rambling. All it took was one stupid mistake for them to hate me, and that's when I realised that it was never love that they had. Behind their smiles and cheers, it was always fear. They tried to hide it, but they're scared of people like us, and they should be, because you and I are different. We are stronger, we are better. Cursed tries to hit me, but I transform into Ultra Ego and catch the punch. So, you're telling me the love you felt for those you cared about is just gone? Because I don't believe that. And I don't think you believe that either. No matter what we went through when we were kids. The repeated heartbreak, the trauma, the isolation, overthinking, we still can never get rid of the immense love we felt for others, no matter how much it hurt us. And even since then, you lost all your friends, and you blamed yourself, but deep down, we are both still that kid who just wants to be loved. Cursed eyes widen, as he remembers everything which he long since repressed. Cursed clones disappear, just as they are about to kill the Z-fighters, and me and Cursed slowly float down to the floor. Cursed, full of tears, mutters, "What have I done? What have I become? I go in for a hug again. You became what either of us could have became a very long time ago. You just needed a reminder of who you once were to bring you back into the light. All the Z fighters land near us, and Curse looks at them with sorrow. Out of all of them, Future Gohan is the one he walks over, and as I let go of Cursed, him and Future Gohan look at each other. Cursed is about to say that he's sorry, but before he can, Future Gohan hugs him, and apologizes for making him suffer the way he did. He was just so frustrated. Cursed hugs Gohan back, and both Future Goku and Present Goku give a thumbs up, while both versions of Vegeta look away with slight smirks, and Present Gohan and Future Trunks are cheerfully grinning while holding Broly up. The fighters then look around, as all the damage done was restored by the Dragon Balls, which Future Bulma just used, and Cursed asks what happens now, and Future Gohan says that now Sacred comes home. Future Sacred's outfit and aura return to normal, as he walks up to me and fist bumps me, thanking me for reminding him. I tell him not to mention it, and I hope that next time I see him, it will be for better circumstances. Future Sacred nods, as me and the rest of the present crew get into the time machine, and wave goodbye as we return to our timeline. This video begins on Beerus' planet. I am watching as Goku talks to Beerus about creating the Tournament of Power, and after Beerus threatens to erase him, Goku tricks him into looking away before pressing the Zeno button and teleporting to his realm. I begin laughing, as I actually got to see this in person, but Beerus scowls at me, telling me to not get too comfortable, because he could erase me just as easily. I laugh, telling Beerus not to be so cocky. I've gotten a lot stronger since the last time we fought all out. Beerus smirks, saying we can test that any time I like. I smile, saying I'll take him up on that offer at some point, but I think I have a bit of fighting ahead of me that I should save my energy for. Beerus looks away in shame, as he knows that Goku will most likely succeed in creating the Tournament of Power, as a result of him being tricked by him, and Beerus then walks away, and we slightly laughs as he does. Some time passes, and the Tournament of Power is announced, Goku being chosen to create the team, and it remains the same as canon, other than I replace Frieza, and Broly replaces Tien. Once we actually get to the tournament itself, I sort of take on a Jiren role, just sitting there and meditating the entire time. I want everyone to get the same amount of growth from this tournament that they did in canon, so I just let things play out. I tell Broly to do the same, but if he gets attacked, then he can obviously defend himself. I watch as Goku gets Ultra Instinct for the first time, and battles against Jiren. I watch as Kale and Caulifla attack Broly, which leads to a Berserk Kale fighting against a full power Super Saiyan Broly. However, Broly isn't trying to hurt her, and is instead trying to help her control the form like he was able to. They may be different forms, but they still went berserk in similar ways. Broly would eventually help Kale control the form, and not wanting to fight her anymore, would simply back off, and eventually, Goku would take over, and activate Ultra Instinct for a second time, while facing off against Kefla. Toppo would challenge Broly, and Broly would accept. However, Broly fast passes Toppo in every way, even after Toppo uses God of Destruction mode, and Broly knocks him out of the ring, while Blue Evolution Vegeta and Blue Kaioken Goku fight against Jiren. Android 17 has the sacrifice, which I know isn't real, and I tell Broly to stand here with me and watch what is about to happen. Broly just agrees, and we watch as Vegeta is knocked out of the ring, and we watch Goku unlock Ultra Instinct for the third time, and fight against Jiren. Beerus is shouting, asking me what me and Broly are doing, just sitting there. But I shout for Beerus to be quiet and just watch. And Beerus is shocked at the nerve of what I just said, but he can't do anything, so he just watches the fight. And then, all of the Gods of Destruction stand up in respect, as Goku accesses Mastered Ultra Instinct. Goku and Jiren have their fight like normal, which leads to Goku's body giving out. And as Jiren is about to knock him out of the ring, me and Broly stand in front of Goku and smack away Jiren's attack. Broly is in full power Super Saiyan, and I am in Ultra Ego. Toppo from the stands looking in awe, as I've reached a power of destruction which he couldn't even imagine. Beerus smirks, saying the tournament was already over, the second I was a part of the team. And me and Broly both power up balls of energy in our hands, which we consecutively throw at Jiren. And with this single attack, he's knocked out of the ring. And after Android 17 appears out of nowhere, showing he is still alive, Goku is announced as the MVP due to doing far more than either me or Broly. And even though Android 17 did do a considerable amount, Goku still has the edge, and was given the wish. It doesn't really matter who got the wish, since we'd all wish for the same thing, the unerasure of the other universes. Now the Tournament of Power is over, we would normally head to the Broly movie, but not only is Frieza completely erased, Broly is already a part of the main cast, so none of the events of that movie would happen. As for Moro, I simply teleport into his cell and took him before he can even escape. So now, we are at a period of peace. No granola arc since Frieza is still dead, and obviously that also means it isn't the looming threat of Black Frieza. So now, we're just chilling, and I want a challenge. So on Beerus' planet, since Goku and Vegeta are still working towards their new forms, I decided to teach them the fusion dance, to see how I fare against Gogeta. Goku would be excited to do it, but it would take a bit of convincing with Vegeta. However, in the end, he would agree, and then Gogeta would be born for the first time in this timeline. Broly, Beerus and Whis sit on the sidelines, watching as the battle commences with base me and base Gogeta trading blows. I'm impressed with the fighting prowess of Gogeta. We are nearly evenly matched in terms of power, but his skill in fighting far surpasses my own, which gives him the edge. I decide to activate Kaioken in order to make up for this, now gaining a slight edge over Gogeta. But Gogeta wasn't going to let this slide, and quickly powers up into Super Saiyan, which forces me to do the same. I fire a flurry of Ki Blasts at Gogeta, with Gogeta smacking them all away, and rushing towards me with a punch. However, I sidestep the blow, before kicking him in the side of the jaw. Gogeta says it's time they get serious, as he powers up into Super Saiyan Blue, and I do the same, resuming our battle with a Kamehameha clash, which I use as a distraction, while a clone of me comes from behind Gogeta in order to strike him in his blind spot. But Gogeta simply smirks, and instant transmissions behind my clone. But as my Kamehameha is about to hit my clone, I redirect it into the air. This was futile, however, as Gogeta simply kicks my clone into the beam, and then tries to throw a Soul Punisher at me. However, I power up into Ultra Ego, and counter it with a Ball of Hakai. I shout to Gogeta that it's time to end this, as I begin powering up another Kamehameha, but this time, I embed Hakai energy into it. Gogeta agrees, powering up into Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, and powering up a Big Bang Kamehameha. We both let out roars as we fire our beams, and they clash. Beerus' planet shaking viciously, and Whis puts a barrier around himself, Beerus and Broly. I am swiftly overpowering Gogeta's beam. Gogeta knows there's no point trying to get out of this one. This is his final stand, and he can't give up now. He has to push past his limits even more. The beam clash continues, and as I am smirking, since I'm about to win, I hear Gogeta shout, "Kaioken times 20!" And his beam gains a lot more ground, slowly overpowering my Kamehameha. Gogeta begins to laugh, saying that it's over, but I smile, beginning to pull one of my hands away from the beam, so I am now performing a one-handed Kamehameha. I lift my other hand into the air, telling Gogeta that he forgot one major thing. Gogeta asked what that was, and I simply say, forced spirit fission. Gogeta then has a shocked expression on his face, as he sees all his energy being drained from him, as he diffuses into Goku and Vegeta, and my beam nearly kills the pair, but I appear in front of it with a Ball of Hakai in my hand, and erase the beam from existence. Whis removes the barrier, and Goku shouts that I cheated, by saying that it was never against the rules to force them to defuse. I was simply thinking tactically. Beerus agrees, saying that I simply outsmarted my opponent, and as Goku looks to Vegeta to back him up, Vegeta is simply looking away, saying that myself and Beerus aren't wrong. Goku begins pouting, but I tell him to cheer up. Maybe one day, he won't need to fuse in order to beat me. Goku instantly perks up, saying that he will, and Vegeta simply scoffs, saying if anyone is going to become stronger than me, then it will be him. Broly's just sitting there, amused, and Whis says that he thinks it's about time I become a destroyer. Beerus looks scared for a moment, but recomposes himself, saying that I'm still not up to the task. I laugh, saying that if Beerus wants, then they can always find out here and now. Everyone looks at Beerus, seeing if he's going to back down from the challenge, but for the sake of his own pride, Beerus accepts, and gets into his fighting stance, telling me to give him my best shot. I smirk, saying I won't need to, and as we clash fists, fighting for the role of Destroyer God, we are going to end off this series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, then make sure to like, comment, and please do subscribe. It is quick and easy to do. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to Bouldermere Garcia Mega Exo, Cameron, and Jonathan Way for becoming channel members. If you want to be shouted out at the end of a video and get other perks like the channel members here, then there is a link in the description down below to become a channel member. It greatly supports me and it helps me immensely. With all that out of the way, I hope to see you all in the next video.